evening, everybody, or good morning, and welcome to the NYCFC Forever podcast. I'm John Sanchez, also known as John
And
Sanchez, and I, I'm here with Yousef. Yousef,
yo, what up, what up, what up, what up?
and unfortunately, as you guys can see or listen, we have no Dave. Dave is on assignment in I think would be the Midwest, the
Oh,
Yellowstone,
I think that's all the consider that West.
the
Yeah.
northwest. At Yellowstone, he's channeling his inner cowboy. And we made the executive decisions like, you know what? This has always been a three-person show. We need another Dominican here. So we've rolled the Rolodex and we found, you know, the the after the post Ozempic Dave. and, and let's welcome in everybody. One half
Yeah, no.
one half of the soccer Cooligans, uh Christian Polanco, everybody.
Yeah.
Yo, what's good? That's my new nickname, Post Ozempic Dave. I just want to clear up all the rumors. I have never done Ozempic. I'm completely against it. I'm not interested, but I have done gastric bypass surgery. That's why I'm so thin. Let's go.
Yousef has done neither.
Nope. I'm on that corral. We already established this.
Yeah, I just had to clear that up. Shout out, thank you guys. I appreciate the introduction. I love the idea. When I think of Dave going out west being a cowboy, I obviously think Brokeback Mountain. I know you guys did the same thing, so it's all good. That's
Questions were at. Question. Why will you go?
why west. Why the you don't? It's just a work trip. Why you gotta wear the whole outfit? But
Yeah.
no.
Chap? You see?
But no, man, always a pleasure hopping on with you
Thank
guys. Thank you.
Real
Everybody
quick,
knows.
is there anything you've been working on lately? Because I know you're into stand-up comedy. That's your thing as well outside the podcast world. Is there anything going on coming up in the stand-up comedy realm?
In the stand-up cover. So right, well, if still, merging worlds with Cooligans. We just put out a roast. We did an MLS roast at ISC, the Independent Supporters Council. So some people, if you don't know what that is, it's a conference that all the supporters, that the presidents and vice presidents of all the supporters groups across all the like clubs in U.S. soccer and Canada, they all go to one place and basically do like seminars and talk about, how do you organize painting tifos, like how do you run a supporters group. And so we do stand up for them. So we did a roast of MLS teams and NWSL teams, and it was like the most fun thing it's one of the most fun things we ever get to do. So that's on the Cooligans Patreon. So if people want to check that out, I highly recommend it. If you are a soccer nerd, if you're listening to this, you're an addict. You have a problem.
Like you're in MLS trendings right now.
Just like we do. So you'll know all the inside jokes. You'll know exactly what we're talking about. So we do this show that only the most diehard supporters will even get the jokes. So yeah, go check it out.
And you
I
guys
remember.
one of those
Hold on, Sanchez. I remember one time you guys did a joke on a Galaxy fan in one of those a couple years back, and it went viral through like the supporters world because it just got pissed.
Yeah, they got upset. This time we were. So I'll just I'll let you know.
Not to get into the Patriot stuff,
No,
but it
no,
just
no. But I'll give you a peek behind the curtain because it's writing roast jokes is already. I mean, like I always say this example, like the Tom Brady roast. Like, and we have a lot of comedian friends that write jokes for those roasts, and you might hear like 100 jokes on one of those shows, but the amount of jokes that were written were probably like 1,000 to 1,500. Right? It really takes a long time. So even writing jokes about MLS teams, like it takes a long. There's so many teams. It takes a long time. We write jokes for MLS teams, and there were also USL supporters groups at the show.
oh,
And it's like, bro, there's too many. Like, it's just me and Alexis. How we're gonna write? We did like probably 40. We did like probably 50 jokes, and it's like some people are like, this is what has happened. People either get mad that we made a joke about their team, or people get mad that we didn't make enough jokes about their team, or the other risk is like a joke that went too far. So that's what happened. USL people were like, "You didn't make any jokes about our teams." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I ain't watching, the Tormenta. I'm sorry. Like, I try my best to be as on top of all like American soccer."
Would have been like, who are you again? Which team? Oh, that's the joke right there. It's like,
So people after the show, people were coming up to us and being like, "Yo, how come you didn't make any jokes about this team or that team?" I'm like, "Really? This is what you want to spend your time doing? Like, did you have fun or not? Like, at least we got to laugh at Red Bull or whatever. Like, we made jokes."
No one is thinking about you. That's the harsh truth.
I watched the Onside show on Apple TV.
Yeah.
And I watched the show like, like paying attention closely, like appreciating the show, try to get into it. And then at the end of the show, I was like, oh, I forgot Rebel lost. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was like I was watching it for the first time. I was like, yeah.
Nice little reminder.
Yeah, thank you.
I was
Yes. Great ending to the series.
their faces were a little like
Okay. Um, and in the Cooligans, how's that going? Like as the show itself, the Cooligans. I think you guys drop 2 episodes weekly, right?
Yeah. To Mondays and Thursdays, and yeah, usually. I mean, it's been awesome. I mean, we're at Yahoo Sports now, and that's been cool to just like they have like we used to be at Meadowlark, right? Like on Levitard show. And the big difference there is just like nobody really cared about soccer there. So it's like when you are trying to I exaggerate when I say nobody, but the few people that did, it's challenging when you're like, "Oh, we should go to MLS All-Star or MLS Cup," or like really just like these things that are significant in American soccer that you should be at and do coverage and set up interviews and stuff like that. And then, so that's the difference with Yahoo. Like Yahoo sent us to MLS Media Day in Miami with a videographer, with a producer, and
Legit setup.
like an actual
Yeah.
team.
the team. And
You actually have a backing now.
so it's not me lugging the damn Pelican case with all the camera equipment. So that part of it is dope. Of just like they know the sport, they know why these certain things are important, and they give us those resources to make the show as fun as we can and look as good as we can. So yeah, it's been a good situation so far.
I think one of the reasons why like your show, like you guys as a duo, but also just in general as the show, I wouldn't say, and because we've spoken about it in person, like you guys have become this sort of barometer for what it is how to talk about soccer within like the new age space, because I don't really listen to any older voices anymore. And I think it's just because you guys have decided that when you are gonna talk about a league, whether it be like the NWSL or MLS, it's not like I'm gonna just glaze over it. It's like I'm gonna do my due diligence to know at least enough that I'm gonna know the characters and the storylines. So to have a backing that allows you to do that, I would assume it's like not maybe number one priority, but definitely number two when you're choosing a home.
I appreciate that. I mean, it's been good when like we're working on these different networks, and none of them are ever like, "Oh, make sure you talk about Messi. Make sure you talk about who's better, Messi or Ronaldo." Like in the same, we know what gets clicks, we know what, but it's like I don't know. At least the way I feel, it's like we're making the conscious choice of like, yeah, this is gonna get less views, but this is our community. These are the people we want to speak to. Like doing that show at ISC. If I spent my time only talking about Manchester United and Arsenal and whatever, and be like all the Euro snob and try to win over those people, it's like I don't really care if they're like me or they are interested in what we have to say. It's like this community that we are a part of like is ignored, and obviously we're already competing with all the other sports in the country and blah blah blah, and the fact that we can just dedicate segments to innocuous weird American soccer stuff, and we get that support and we get the audience that we get, like yeah, it's like I appreciate that you appreciate it, but yeah, more than anything, I'm just glad it's worked out. It's a miracle. Nobody can. It's impossible to make money doing this, and we found some way to just at least have a job.
We keep trying.
Speaking of jobs, like 10 years ago when NYCFC first started, and the soccer Cooligans also as well was celebrating, I guess, 10 years as well.
August is gonna be our 10-year anniversary. Yeah,
10 years. Did you ever think 10 years later you'll be Andrea Pirlo's coworker?
that's right. Just yeah, like just
At the water cooler, you'd be like, "Hey, Pirlo, how you doing?" You know,
it was
Did you see last week's game?
I was in the green room with Andrea Pirlo and it's Pirlo. I mean, you met him at the event, but talking to him for like a long stretch, I was like, I don't know how to exactly talk to you because I have a image of you of what you're supposed to be like and how people are supposed to treat you. But it was actually really funny seeing like Tony Rocha and RJ Allen like bust his balls and joke around and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, okay, like he's a normal dude.
He's
a
just
teammate.
a weapons guy. He is actually a person.
Yeah, 100%. He was saying, I think RJ was asking him like, "Oh, you're gonna go, you played recently, right? Like he played in some charity game, I think with the one with Henri and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, it was.
Speed and
Yeah, not Speed. I don't think Speed was there.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, he was. It was okay. So he goes, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm about to play in another game in like Juve legends against Tottenham legends." And then I told him like, "Oh, does Tottenham have legends?" And he looked at me like I don't know if it was like lost in translation or he didn't understand, but he like didn't understand the sarcasm. I don't know if it's just like not a thing in Italy or something. But like
he was probably stunned, and he was like, "Wait, do they?"
dude. So it was funny because everybody in the room laughed but Pirlo, and I'm like, all right, I guess feels all right. Like it's not the worst thing because
He doesn't know all English, I guess. Yeah.
but yeah, it's did I think this could happen after 10 years? I'm not gonna say no. I just think this was interesting. In our first year, we had I don't know, you met Kirby, right? Kirby Pate. Do you remember Kirby? Early on.
Yes.
He was like our intern, and he was just a kid who was also another NYCFC fan. Was going to NYU, working, studying, I think production or something like that, or film. And then he wanted to help us, so we needed some help, and he was kind enough to do that. And I remember like 7 or 8 months in, he was like, "Yo, you guys are gonna this is gonna be huge. You guys are gonna blow up." And I was like, we're literally like in Alexis's kitchen recording. I'm like, why would this be anything? I just didn't think it's not even about like, oh, I don't think I'm talented or not funny or whatever. I just didn't think, why would I think anything good would come of it? But it's why I have a lot of gratitude for the game and everybody dedicated to it, because and you guys know this, there's nothing like the community around this sport. I've watched NFL, I watch NBA, hockey. I've never experienced the level of camaraderie, whether you are fans of a rival team or not, or whatever. You all have some sort of bond of what this sport can give you, and this podcast and the sport and everything brought me to the world.
Yeah, it's very unique being part of this MLS sphere of MLS multiverse, and it's like when you see, even like you said, a rival team's fan, and it's just like, damn, you watch MLS too?
Yeah.
Like, there's more into how nobody pays attention.
Yeah. Put down the broken beer bottle and let's just chat, bro.
It's great. It's great you said it because like there's moments where you meet somebody and they'll tell you like they watch the sport, and I think when everybody like you immediately want to go like, what's your local club? And when they say something of MLS or that they'll have an MLS jersey, you want to go and talk to them. Like I saw somebody with a Columbus kit in Maryland one time, and I was following that dude for like 2 aisles. Just because I wanted it just to get the like, do you understand? Like, do you know Columbus, or is this like you just bought this jersey?
Right. You just
like, I want to verify. Like,
you got it to match your sneakers, or you're like, what? you know Wilfred Nazi's tactics.
Like, what's up?
I had a neighbor 2 doors down that I saw him walking down. He's like one of those gigantic bodybuilders, like a huge, massive guy. He had a Columbus Crew tank top, which looked like really small. And I was like, "Oh, you're a Columbus Crew fan? That's very odd." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Your shirt." He's like, "I bought this for $2 at the thrift store to go to the gym." It was the smallest tank top they had.
Oh,
I was like,
man.
"Okay, you're one of those."
No,
But
Even I was
let's
gonna
get
say
into
just
this game. Oh, sorry.
all right,
Hey.
yeah. Oh, no, I was just gonna say like over time, like now, even I was playing in my Sunday league game today, and I saw like this like dad with this kid and wearing an NYCFC hat, and it's like I think maybe a couple years ago it would have been like, hey, I just picked it up at the bargain bin and stuff, but now it's like now people know that I could be like, yo, we had a good win last night, and they're like, yeah, like, and that part of it feels great.
Got that at the Modell's clearance sale a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
years.
no, because that's been like the vibe lately, like this, especially this week with the team sort of their social media has been going in or went in. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
gonna keep going, but they're super diving in onto it's the 10th anniversary. We're coming back to
Nostalgia.
the nostalgia mode of like so everybody just been reliving everything these past couple days of like year one to year now, and it's you could see maybe 10 years ago definitely would have been like you see an NYC was like you got it for a bid, but now I feel like we have legit fans. Like our fans have time and time again have shown the league and also just the world and media like, hey, we're gonna ride for us.
I got that
Whether
feeling
you
yesterday at the outside the bootleggers were out in full force yesterday, and
yes,
I was
Mm.
shocked, surprised. They had jerseys, they had flags.
the beanies.
Now it's beanies that I bought you one because you didn't have a hat, and it was like 7 degrees outside. Like, how dare you?
I had a hat. Look, I have a Christian. Almost, it's weird because I call all of you guys now by their last name, so it's like it's weird saying
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm like
Military
Polanco.
shit.
My mind goes to Polanco. So like so I had a hat, but it wasn't a warm hat.
Mm.
It's a stylish hat.
Yeah.
he
So
bought he made me this hat, and it's
a
better
Baltic
quality
hat?
than the beanies that were
I
given
saw
out.
you. Yeah, you showed me the hat yesterday,
Yeah,
and
the whole
I
liner.
as a dude with no hair, that I applaud you for your bravery and risk, and to
Yeah.
even 'cause you're like, nah, just to have no hair, and then not really. You would think that you worry about it, right? Your head being cold, but
You
I
think
mean,
Oh, like he even like shaves it down to make sure he's cold.
you think
Right.
I don't Sanchez always like when it's cold like that, he literally goes, he's like, what was it you say? Like wear a jacket, a proper jacket. Cause
I always
I have
text him,
the
wear a
yeah,
jacket, wear a sweater. Like I'm like his father that he never had to like
yeah,
bully to clothes shame him and like wear
I,
dress warm. It's winter
I have a
outside.
track record. I have a track record of not wearing appropriate jackets to cold weather.
I
Yeah.
think there's also the assumption that like big dudes are warm. So maybe that's what maybe that's the like maybe people are not reminding you as much, but nah, bro,
Sorry, no, no.
you ain't a superhero.
Yeah. So let's get into this game. We are part of that crew that always hangs out at the bodega pregame.
Yeah.
And it's like a really great yesterday the bodega vibe was actually it's outdoors, the area, and it was so packed. I'm talking about so packed. So packed that it was warm. It was hot. I zipped open my jacket, took my hood off. That's how hot I was back there. That's how packed it was. And it was
Yeah.
just like almost uncomfortable. How like, all right,
But it's
guys.
but it's good though. Like we embraced that a little bit. Like it got
Yeah.
so packed that we had to do like a merry-go-round to allow people to pass through us.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to, but I don't. I think the bodega is something that
It's
is
a
very
culture
unique.
thing for NYCFC.
Yeah, it's very
Very
unique to us. You
heavy
know, like
culture. And there's like a song that gets played on like the boom boxes. Like some guys playing has a playlist, is always has a great vibes. And there's a song that when the song plays, that's the cue for everybody to leave. So
Ah.
it's like it's cumbia de los trapos. It's like the whole crowd is into it, and once the song's over, it's like, all right, now it's time to go. It's game time. Let's go. Everybody got that last moment of hypeness in, and we head out to the march. Uh, Were you able to catch any of the march prior to?
No, I usually especially ever since having a kid, it's a little bit tougher to get there really early. So I haven't been to a march in like maybe like a year and a half. Just I probably hear Mateo in the background.
I was about to say, like,
He's like, "You talking about me, pops?" So I didn't. But I obviously, you guys always post a lot of videos and pictures, so that's where I usually catch it.
yes, yesterday, the march yesterday.
Wait, before we get into that, Sanchez, sorry, I just want to get what would be what is your like normal pregame routine for home matches now? Like aside from just obviously be a dad first, but like after you leave your home, like what are your normal?
So
Like,
usually I usually go I usually have a press pass. So I still have my season ticket and everything from I'm a founding member and right no anybody
Your name was up there.
yeah, okay. So and
face
I
and
then I
the questions.
get to the stadium and I usually go into the press booth. I usually try to like link up or see people, some people that either work at the club or other people in media, like either say hi to like Glenn Crooks or Roberto Abramovich or just like I don't know. I treat every game of like I'm there to obviously watch the game. It is also a job, so I try to at the very least like this happens in comedy all the time. It's like just show face. Like you got to just be around so that people remember that you're still there and still doing stuff. And then also with like the turnover at the club, there's always new people, so it's always just nice to like introduce yourself and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I usually go into the press box first, and then I usually end up in the supporter section after or whatever.
That's like the same thing Yousef does, but he just goes for the hot dogs and the ice cream cone and the Mr. Softy that they have in the back.
Everybody has their process, their routine.
I was recruiting the kitchen to go to the stadium. I told them this, they're like, "You coming with us?" Because they had the steak.
Bro, sometimes the food is like it's pretty banging. I'm like,
Had a chimichurri.
bro.
I don't mind. I don't mind telling people the inside baseball on that.
But the food in the press box is better than the food at the concession stand, which
Hell
is
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Even though yesterday I heard some wild shit yesterday coming out of the concession stands. They're like, yo, you were able to slip the concession people a couple bills and they was throwing you tendies. You know?
Really?
They were doing $2. They were doing like $2 tendies for I was like, yo, I was like,
That's
no,
how
and they were like, yeah, they were doing that. You throw them $2, they give you like 3 tendies on the side. I was like, those are for last year, bro.
And it's the opposite at Citi Field.
Yeah.
Citi Field, the concessions are really good, and then the press box it is just cafeteria, lunch food, public school,
It's
just
peanut butter and jelly packets. And
It's so bad.
I get it. So remarkable.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, "Oh, like it must be nice, like having press passes." I was like, it gets you access, but it doesn't bring you luxury. Like it's just,
right.
you know, like it's not like we're here just like, oh, lazy boy. Nah, but
so,
but you do make it to the supporter section. That's how I was. What we see,
Yeah.
yeah, at 238, right? Like around there.
38. Yeah, that's where
the last Warriors.
Yeah.
bro. Yeah, go for it. Go.
No, so because and with that in mind, I wanted to ask you. So because you guys even technically your show, if anybody that listens or sees, watched back then, started really in the stands. Like you guys used to go and record and do stuff in the stands. What over the last 10 years, as we're all in this sort of anniversary feel, what have you seen the supporters section, ours and specifically ours? Like how have you seen it change? And
For better or
kind of
worse.
for better or for worse, and by all means, be open on however you feel. But also like because I feel like you have conversations with a lot of other supporters groups throughout the league and have been exposed to them. What are some insights that you can give us as supporters for the section that can propel us into the next 10 years? And then obviously the stadium that you can probably see like, hey, you know what? This would be kind of cool if we did this, stuff like that.
Sure. So I'll say the good It's hard to say. I don't. I'll just describe it in like when I'm comparing it to other supporters groups. I would say, the ones that I've interacted with a lot are like Atlanta, um, Charlotte, um, the Minnesota. These like the supporters that I speak to the most and have interacted with the most at ISC. I would say NYCFC. One of the better things the supporters do is like that. There's not too many supporters groups. Like there's sometimes like we were in Charlotte and Alexis and I we hosted this like a supporters soccer tournament. And NYCFC has done this and supporters have done this. But this was like, club sanctioned, and they were doing like it was called the Supporters Belt Championship, and they get like this like yesterday that the guy who won the award for most weight trips
Wait,
or whatever.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
He got like a belt like that. So they had one as well, Charlotte. And we're like hosting this game, and it's like a lot of like different like Argentinian and like Uruguayan groups, and they're fractured basically by like what country of origin. And there was a goddamn fist fight at this damn thing. Like it's like they're all supporters of the same exact team, fighting like crazy. Nutmeg just wants to say hi.
Hey, what's up, Nutmeg?
Usually Igor makes a cameo too.
Yeah.
He's over there in his crate just staring at me, so he might make one today.
So I know, like, the main thing I know is like the supporters are never going to agree on stuff, but I like that, and at least what I know is like it's obviously third rail, templados, and then the other ones are like a little bit smaller and stuff like that. But I think that helps in just like the unity. There's the uniqueness of New York is so you can't just have an all Puerto Rican supporters group or Dominican supporters group or Argentinian like this. That's not what being a New Yorker is. And so that part of it I think is great. The negative is I don't think it has anything to do with the supporters themselves. It's just like we don't have a stadium. We just limited in what we can do. The like in Portland, like the Timbers Army to me is like that should be the standard. And yes, it's one group, but they have a like a clubhouse that's like a block away from the stadium. They keep all they keep all the memorabilia. They
Warehouse and the other warehouse.
they're like historians, and there's people that take ownership of like we have to pass the history to the next generation. So that part of it I wish there was. It might take to us having the stadium for like some of these things to start, but it's a level of dedication that requires a lot of sacrifice. So it's like go for it.
My goal, personal goal, has always been since NYCFC started is to collect as much stuff. I have so much stuff, like little, like a lot of game worn stuff that I've been able to build relationships with players and get access to really unique things. That my goal was always like collect. I don't have a lot of stuff on display at all in my house, like memorabilia, like the unique stuff. It's all in like bins. But my goal has always been after I saw Portland's clubhouse, they gave me a tour back in 2018, I think it was, of their little bar clubhouse and then the warehouse where they paint the tifos and have everything stored. And what their little bar clubhouse thing is that's what I would love to do with one day, like on a personal level, and put everything I have on display and have people put stuff on display and have like a home base for all supporters outside of the game, outside of the stadiums,
Right.
where they could just go and partake in convivir juntos, like I don't know what's the word in English. I didn't learn that one yet.
A communal space, a communal space.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always that was always been my personal goal, and then maybe one day, with help of other people, investors, and like people who work for Yahoo could like
Yeah, I'll put in a word, bro.
put in a couple bucks. Maybe we can rent one of these $1.7 million properties next to the junkyards in City Field.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's that. It's and Timbers Army is like the
Standard.
and when being at the stadium, that's the and it's just such a huge supporter section, and they all sing the same song and whatever. And again, I think once we have the stadium, I think a lot of these things become easier to start setting up and putting in place. But Even I mean, there were what, like 20, it was like 25,000 some odd people yesterday.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible too. I mean, with how cold it was, and then also when we were leaving the supporter section, one thing I really did appreciate is like there were a lot of young dudes there, just like very
Yeah.
really, like between 15 and 25, and those are the people that are gonna be the next generation of like hardcore supporters. So
I got to know a lot of these kids from the I don't want to call them kids, sorry, from the City Boys group, where I've come to find out that just because they're like in their low 20s or whatever, they've been coming since for 10 years. They've shown me pictures of when their dad brought them to the inaugural match 10 years ago, and they were actual children, and being like, you guys are like just as part of this as that I've been. You've been here just as long as I've been. It's just that now you're able to go out on your own. You're like an adult now. You could move around a little bit freely. Maybe you have a job or whatever. And these people are like these. This is the future. This is how you build legacies. This is how you build the history of the club is by these younger kids growing up. The team had a good repost this morning on
Yes.
I saw the father and son
son from the
10 years
same
ago.
seats in the
Yeah.
10 years ago, and I actually saw somebody yesterday that I had to say something. I was like, "Yo, I remember you, Ryan Ring, this kid Ryan Ring, he was with his dad," and I'm like,
Mhm.
"I remember y'all 2 10 years ago when Ryan like, I know I ignored you because you were a child. I don't really talk to children because what are we gonna talk about?
Yeah.
What are we really gonna talk about? Me and the child, like, what are we gonna talk about, right? How was school? Did you do your regents? Like, how'd you see No,
Yeah,
right?
because
But I was like, I remember you being a child and now
that's the
oh,
post
that
right
that
there.
that's
Yeah,
supposed yeah.
that's a
Um,
fun one.
that's cool. It's, like, in the same spot, in the same, like, seat, and I told him, like, "Yo, it's really cool to see you as an adult now. You've graduated college, and you're doing adult things," and then I told his dad, like, "Yo, it's really cool seeing y'all still coming after all these years." That's pretty unique. I wish I had a dad to say that to.
No, it's just fun, but it's crazy because now you guys both saying that it's sort of like the gears are a little turning. Whereas maybe this is just how it feels just to be in a club that's 10 years old and it's technically still finding itself in its identity on the voice when it comes to the supporter section. Because if you compare yourself to maybe to the Portland Timbers, they've been around since what
The
the
seven.
70s technically. But granted, yes, Atlanta obviously a little younger than us with that, but um, yeah, we I feel like we've done a lot with the little that we've been able to use or have
Yeah.
in terms of but actually calling a place a home or consistencies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna ever complain. I mean, it's like, like I said, like I see the dedication to like you always think of like stadium experience, and then I know like there's NYCFC staff that are like in charge of like making sure all the graphics and
Yeah,
things and like and what the sound cues and Mark Frado what he's gonna announce and everything. But realistically, the stadium experience is from the supporters. I mean, when the even at I think the beginning of the second half yesterday, it was like really quiet. I don't know if they were not drumming for a reason or something.
Like, we're back from the bar, from the bathroom,
yeah,
Got it.
it always happens.
But the first thing we said, I was talking to Alexis and my wife, and we were just like, "What the hell's going on? Why is it so quiet?" Like it's just like the experience. It just feels like something is truly missing. So yeah, this it's like you said, we're doing what we can with the resource that we have, and it's like arguing with Yankee Stadium security and what we're allowed to do with staff, and like even the club is not allowed to do stuff, and they're having the tifo issue now and whatever. So I think once we have our own stadium and kind of that's what I appreciate about like Timbers Army or just even supporters in general. Like I've been to Germany, and in Germany the supporters hate the league. They hate the league. It's like we do too much of like, oh, we're MLS fans, and it's like nobody in Germany would be like, I'm a big Bundesliga fan. They're like, no, I'm an Eintracht Frankfurt supporter, and that's it. And it's like there's a contention that they have with their front office or whatever, because it's like they see it as like you are there to as a custodian of the club. I'm here forever. You just work there, but I'm loyal to this club since before you were even here. And that is like a thing, I think, and a lot of MLS supporters don't think that way. And I think that's what we need to get to really have like a great stadium experience at any club that you at any stadium you go to across any MLS club. So we're getting there, but it's a we won a title, so I'm like, all right, we're in going in the good direction. We can flex that for a bit.
You know, it's funny that you say that, and not to like crazy like stick on that too much, but the fact that we are fans of MLS, we do say that. Maybe that can inform why like the U.S. Open and Leagues Cup and Champions Cup, I guess it's called now, not Champions League. Their attendance is a little lower because in our brains, or maybe the general fandom of the league or the clubs this is an MLS club, sort of like if an NBA team were to go play, like guess at another league, they'll just be like the Globetrotters at that point, you know. Like we don't really see other leagues. No, but like hey, they've been beating the Generals for how long? Like 100 years now.
Listen, they're undefeated against the Generals for a reason, buddy, because they trot the globe.
They do it, but but that it's just interesting because I could see how people will be like, oh, I'm only gonna see MLS games because I only put that team together with MLS, whereas around the world it's like, no, I don't care what we go down, I'm still gonna go watch.
Yeah, it's interesting because and we work with like Bundesliga, and we work with, and we've hosted the Premier League Fan Fest and stuff like that, and it's fascinating. And especially like the Premier League Fan Fest, every I remember like Daniel Sturridge, and I was talking to him, and they all say like, oh, nothing like this could ever exist in England because the supporters will be fighting each other, whatever. You can't put them together. And it's the fascinating thing about the US versus their domestic markets is that the Premier League doesn't have to promote the Premier League. That's they have the gold mine that is Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea. They're just all they got to do is tell you where to watch it. They know people are going to watch it. The clubs themselves do the work to grow the brand, but MLS has to do the work to. You have to say watch MLS, not just not watch New York City FC. So it's a different approach, and it leads to
signing Messi.
Well, it leads to the ceiling is so much lower, right? We should have 30 psychopathic, diehard supporters of each individual club, and people are gonna go watch their club regardless of what tournament they're playing in. And we're not there yet. That's why, like you mentioned, the CONCACAF Champions Cup. It's like, that's why LAFC only got 8,000 people. They probably they're not even working that hard to probably promote the games. So I'm sure they make more money from the MLS matches. So it's like they don't need to do CONCACAF any favors. They're just like, whatever. Well, maybe when we get to the semifinal or final, we'll really promote it. But it's something that has to change for the league to not necessarily look like Europe, but like to you need the loyal fans of that individual club, not the league, for it to thrive.
And then because especially when like Apple TV came around, I remember Garber speaking of like, oh, we want if you to become a fan of this team that is not in your state, and like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's
like, like what? And because no, like you're your club, and then you watch your club play.
Harvard do the Moncion and get an executive order that every state has to have a team.
Imagine. Yes.
So every state has a team.
That's the most important thing going on right now. So he needs to look that out.
51st state has 3 teams. Unacceptable.
Oh man.
What a time. What a time we live. The soccer world, America, the United States, the Gulf, it's ours.
Dude, I mean, Infantino being at, he had the whole thing with Trump the other day, and it's like they're starting a FIFA task force, and it's like They have to
I
start.
don't understand that.
But they have to start it because they literally the World Cup is a little over a year away, and
Yeah.
there's like nothing in place. And
No.
visas, people. I saw something about like Colombia. It's gonna take like almost 200 days to
Yeah.
get a visa, and it's like, yo, there's gonna be no Colombians coming from Colombia to see the goddamn World Cup.
Someone who went to the last 2 World Cups in Russia
Mm-hmm.
and in Qatar, as an American, normally for those countries, you need a visa to go to those countries. What they did in both tournaments is that if you were able to purchase a game ticket, you automatically qualify for their fan ID, which to get into the stadium. But your fan ID also dubbed as the visa to enter the country. And in both instances, in the airports, when you're doing the customs, I had to present my fan ID along with my passport, and
So
both
that,
got scanned.
so that was like
And
your cedula, essentially.
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't have my fan ID close by, but the physical card I would have to one for the Russia was a big one that went around your neck, and for Qatar was actual like a card, like a card size, and I had to present both of them to enter the country. And
Yeah.
I always said like I don't see the United States opening their borders to do that, and to me that's an element of the World Cup experience that will be lacking. The home fans from coming from their countries
Yeah.
and celebrating, parading, or just hanging out and bringing their atmosphere. It's going to be lackluster. And I understand the concept of the United States having so many people from so many countries that you not necessarily have to do that, but it takes away from the purest form of fandom for this global event.
It's antithetical to what the World Cup is. It is
Yeah.
you want to invite people into your country, into your home. Yeah, make money. They bring the tourist dollars, but whatever. But it's that exchange of culture.
Yeah.
So that's why I mean, this is a whole other subject, but that's why
Yeah.
I'm really frustrated with FIFA and Infantino and everything, and this administration or whatever, because FIFA should be putting pressure, not just being like bending the knee and being like, please create a task force so we can do whatever. And it's like, no, man, they should
No.
be telling like, we're not going to host the World Cup if you talk and you treat other human beings this way. But I mean, they making money is not is more important than anything else.
That's
The
all it
what
is.
I'll say about the World Cup is I just pray after going to the last 2 that Ticketmaster doesn't control ticketing.
All right. We had an issue yesterday.
We have major issues, and that's why the 25,800 number is a little skewed because a few hundred people had to buy a second ticket.
Maybe even more. Maybe even
Even more.
more.
It's a few hundreds of people were at the ticket booth, the box
Yeah.
office, having to buy a second ticket because they
No.
couldn't access their own tickets through Ticketmaster app. And all I gotta say to them is, y'all had all day to download it and put it in your wallet or your phone. All day. Like you just literally had us. Probably you've had like 2 months. Them tickets been there in your account for like since mid-January. Like
If you're a season ticket holder listening to this, the first thing you got to do is go to your account and add to wallet.
Yeah.
If you're on the iPhone, just add to wallet. I don't know what the Samsung Galaxy version of that is, but I don't know.
Yeah. No,
I that do it.
I got in. I got in at maybe because I couldn't access my ticket, and I got in at 7. So yeah, I didn't have a press pass yesterday, but I got in at 7. It was like 7:20. Like I was like, yeah, I hope this works at some point. I mean, I have my ticket in there. But yeah, that was kind of crazy.
No,
very it could say to the on the bright side, the demand to get in, the hottest ticket in town,
Of course.
crashing Ticketmaster. Who else crashes Ticketmaster but NYCFC? Come on.
not even the Knicks. Not even the Knicks.
And I'd say I'll take that as a moral victory.
For real.
Let's get into the game a bit.
Yes, but before that, we have
We're never
a
getting
little bit. No, dude, we have a little bit of an ad for.
there was a game today?
There was a game, maybe, who knows? But it's just we have an ad, so right after the break, we'll spin it back up and we'll get into the game. Cool.
Today's episode is sponsored by Tri-State Marine Movers. Are you planning a move and seeking a reliable, veteran-owned company to handle your belongings with care? Well, look no further than Tri-State Marine Movers. Founded by a Marine veteran and also an NYCFC supporter, Chris and his platoon bring the discipline, commitment, and strength of the Corps to every job. Whether you're relocating your home or office, need packing and storage solutions, junk removal, or even power washing and Mother Nature cleanups, they got you covered. Serving the tri-state area with pride and professionalism, they ensure a seamless and stress-free moving experience. Listen, I used these guys myself and they moved everything in a timely fashion and nothing was broken. That was the best part. So trust the strength of the Marines for your next move. All their info is found on their Instagram, which is at TMM_914. Also, tell them Boop sent you. She got you covered. Tri-State Marine Movers.
All right, guys, we're back. Let's get into this game. There was actually a game yesterday after all the hoopla of ticketing and Pirlo and Poku and RJ Allen and Tony Rocha on the field, a little pregame thing, which was pretty cool seeing them from afar. I was kind of glad Poku got a little pop, you would say, in the wrestling world. Yeah, Poku to me is a legend, a folklore legend of the team. Here for a short time, but his impacts, his moments were very important to the fan base, I think. That bicycle kick at Hofstra, one of the best goals in NYCFC history.
Yeah,
To this day.
Classic.
But the first kit I ever bought was Mix Discorud, because I just like the name Mix look cool on a shirt.
Nope.
And then, but my second long sleeve, remember when they still had the long sleeve shirts?
I think it was back.
Yeah,
guys.
bro. The long sleeve Poku shirt.
Yeah.
I still have.
The long sleeves are very slimming on the big guys. You know, it's like they hide like the symmetrical. This is like yes.
It's very fashion forward.
Fashion forward. You know, I might even tuck it in. You know, I might tuck that one in.
Oh man. But Sanchez,
Go curve of a.
Sanchez, but how we do it every week, Sanchez, take us through the lineup.
Yes.
Here we go.
Roll it on the screen. We don't have interns working for us yet, so whoever is listening, whoever wants to make $0 and work Sunday nights.
We found that ESPN FC has the worst graphics, but the best version of the lineup.
As a formation,
yeah.
MLS app, whatever update did this year, I'm about to throw that app in the garbage. That app is glitchy and the formation is wild. Sometimes I was like, so here we go. We got Matt Freese in goal, Kevin O'Toole, Justin Hack, in for Burke Risa Martins, and then Lineage on the right. We got Johnny Shore. Jesus Christ, they get children. Speaking of children, you know, like orgs, like polar opposites in height and in stature and everything. Hannes Wolf, Maxi Morales, Julian Fernandez, and Alonso Martinez starting up top. Initial thoughts, Christian, on the lineup. Seeing Johnny Shore starting home opener.
I thought he did well in against Miami, so I wasn't nervous or wasn't even really concerned. I was like, all right, I think he's earned an opportunity to see if he can start and see how he adapts to the team. I was probably more concerned. Maybe concerned is not the right word, but I was like, I think Justin Hack is a better defensive mid than he is a center back, but he's a pretty good center back, and I think he's good enough. He's better. He seems to be better than Risa at center back. So, in my opinion, and I said this after the game, I'm like, I think we have our center back pairing going forward. Even though I do think Hack, and we saw it in the first two games, he's become a better passer. He's like making better decisions. He was like pinging balls all over the place. I had worked with Justin Hack when we filmed a like a sponsored content thing that NYCFC did. But as we were talking, I was just asking him like what players were you like closest to? And he was like, Maxime Chanel was like the guy who took me under his wing. And when you think of like Maxime, obviously a great defender. Yes, he made mistakes here and there, but like
about to take hands when I see him.
Yeah, that's true, right? You could see his ankles. Those are also
a little bit of too much calf.
but his passing with his left or right foot, Chanel could send the ball 30, 40 yards and pass it to whoever on the pitch. And there aren't many center backs in MLS that could do that. And Hack seems to be like he's really working on that part of his game. So that was honestly the biggest shock for me, just him at center back, because I think he's better in the midfield, but the way Risa was playing his first 2 games, it's like how many lapses in judgment and just poor defensive mistakes are you gonna allow before you give somebody else an opportunity?
That poor clearance that led to the LA goal.
Yeah.
Did him in. I've been a Justin Hack fan like for at least the last 3 years, against the better judgment of a lot of listeners. And I'm like, no, this guy needs, and Yousef heavy. And I'm like, this guy has proven himself in his however many short amount of starts he had the last few years, but to be able to start back-to-back consecutive years playoff games when there's the other options available who were true to those positions says a lot about him. Like, they trust him enough with less experience to start center back in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Start
but
in the playoffs. And
even
now
with that though, center back for me is always center back over CDM with him. I would be more comfortable with Hack playing the center back role than it would be playing a center defensive mid.
Yeah,
right now.
I like them at defensive mid as well. I think I'm a big fan, but I also see he's bad. He's the, like, you could maybe say the second best center back on the roster, and is that even his natural position?
Yeah, I will say I wasn't happy with the goal that we did give up. Yeah, and it was him trying to put pressure on Muriel and not really if you're gonna foul him, then foul him. The way Tanisiewicz did and didn't get a yellow in Miami. You know what I mean? Like, just actually get contact and make it difficult for them to receive the ball, because he's trying to make that challenge in the midfield, and he's a center back. And now Thiago Martins is like running back. He's like, I have basically 3 guys. I don't know who the hell's gonna end up getting the ball, and that is the he's not a center back. That is the one thing he just overcommitted and didn't really think about. Just like at that point, like, let Muriel get the ball and just stay back and defend. So yeah.
You think like he just thinks too much, like going for, like, he thinks, oh, somebody's behind me already, as like to cover him, and then he's not, oh, I'm the person that's already back there.
Right. It's just like the instinct was wrong in that moment. But I mean, it made it easier because we won. But a draw there would have been really, really frustrating, and he would have been the reason why we got the draw.
Yeah. Now there's another change, last minute change to the lineup from there. So Wolf started, but he wasn't supposed to. It was Ojeda that was supposed to, and we find out was it post-match, right? He was asked
in the presser, yeah.
Now the reason why he was scratched was because he was late. Now we're sort of, this is different. This feels different for NYC to have a coach that is kind of like willing to do that and be vocal about it and just be straight up like, he was late. It's about the team. You don't start. I like that. It's kind of this conversation about the identity of the team is changing, because we're talking a little bit off camera. We're about becoming a pressing team now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but like,
no.
I was gonna make sure I've talked about, because even you saw it in the first game. We look like a different team, and the main difference is like we're winning the ball back high up. It's not exactly that we're like a high pressing team, but as soon as you start seeing it with the fullbacks are pressing to win the ball back very quickly. So we've usually sent the players back to defend and focus on possession, but I've been liking this, and we saw it against Miami. We saw it against LAFC, where we're winning the ball back in their own half, and it's just like we've never really played like this. So it's the frustrating part is that we're not getting the goals from doing all that work, but it's nice to see like that we're giving teams a hard time, even if we're on the road, because that is we've never we never really looked great on the road for a long time. So I like that part of Pascal Janssen's style of play because we just like there's like a little bit more grit.
Yeah, it's a little bit more aggressiveness. I think it also has to deal with the character of the coach a little bit. Like the fact that he is of a different. I don't want to talk bad about the Cushing, but he's just like a pedigree above Cushing in his coaching resume, where he's coached at top clubs. Yeah, probably youth levels, but it's still the top clubs.
Yeah.
And in their respective leagues, and and going off to, I think he was in Hungary, uh, somewhere in the Europa Conference League territories.
Yeah.
He did like 6 months after he did Azad.
Yeah, it sounds like he did like a bid. He did 6 months in Eastern Europe. Holy man!
Month in New York.
That's where this scar is from, or whatever.
You see this chest? This is shipping the shit. No, but it's just naturally like a personality, a character traits that he brings to the table that we haven't really seen late in the past few years, and demanding that respect and demanding that players give it their all to take their play to the next level. I've heard about the two-a-days twice a week throughout the season.
Okay. Yeah.
They're going. That's not heard of. That we've never done that, and that way in CFC during the season, there's 2 days out the week. They're training twice. They're doing
That's-
2 days, and that's just to push the players to their next level.
Yeah, Keaton, or we spoke to Keaton at media day, and that was one of the things he said. He was just like that the coach is like really intense, and you can clearly tell, like, yes, they're being pushed, and I think we're seeing the results of that. Like, especially a player like Julian Fernandez, who we're not really expecting him to defend that much, but he was yesterday. He was putting a lot of pressure up top. So, and just in general, I appreciate the coach's like transparency. I almost he sort of he reminds me of Ruben Amorim. The way Ruben Amorim is like, he's like, no, this is who I got. This is my players. We're not good enough, and blah blah. He's just like, yeah, it's not. It'd be nicer if they were winning, right, Manchester United. But it's nice that a coach that is like transparent that way. I think it eases the minds of the supporters, but it also like keeps us like, yeah, let's have a high standard for our team and our players and
Stability.
yeah, like with all due respect, like Cushing didn't necessarily give that. He protected his players and said like, no, this is with Bakar, like, no, I know he's gonna get it. I'm gonna give him it, and it's like by like
He did the coddling a lot.
yeah, by the 8th, 9th game, it's like, bro, we don't, maybe we could have more points if Alonso Martinez is starting earlier on the season, and so it's stuff like that where like I think the personality of the roster is like you said, like being shaped by the coach.
Yeah.
One thing coming into the season, like we were told that he's very youth oriented, or he gives people the chances. I personally did not think that he would be doing that this early on with players. Maybe obviously injury probably does something to it, or inform that decision. But he must rate this guy Shore
Johnny Shore?
highly. Johnny Shore he must have seen something that as sicko as I am about this team, I'm not necessarily following the twos that heavy where I'm like week in, week out.
You like watching children play? That's what you're telling me? Because I'm okay with that. Because it's like
I don't even know I don't know how to respond to that. YouTube,
where are you at
whoever,
the game?
whatever person is listening to this, making sure this is okay, we are okay.
I mean, let's be clear. They're not children. They're young men. Not that makes it any better.
Like he does not. Okay, young capital Y.
Oh yeah, y'all are like watching MLS Barely Legal, dog. Why does it have to be weird?
I think Johnny Shore actually is the youngest player to ever start in a home opener in NYC history in 10 years.
I think so.
10 years old.
Has there been anyone younger to even start a game? Does he not have that record?
I think he's the youngest. I want to say young.
I think the youngest starter.
It might. The only other person I would think would be James Sands.
Sands, yeah, that's what.
He was
Also,
kind of young also
yeah.
when he started.
he signed at 16, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, so he might. Yeah, so he might not.
They might did a whole
Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't remember what age. I know he was obviously one of the first in the academy to be to head a country.
because we don't keep track of children. All right, like
We're doing great. Yeah, bro.
hey, you got this young kid. How you doing? You know, I was
Look at
16 years
my
old.
look at my website history. Website history is clean, bro. We good out here.
Happy. We made everything incognito.
There's an IT joke there about incognito, but I'm not gonna say it. But no, Johnny Short, man, like, yo, is he gonna be one of those like what is it, Caven guy from Philly, where it's just like,
Kevin Sullivan.
yeah, like, is he gonna just come in and take that role over? Because we still have Perea on the bench, and that's where I was like, when I saw him, when I saw that he was on the lineup for the home opener, I was like, we have somebody that's older.
I don't think Perea was.
Perea was injured. I saw him walking around. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. But just like just seeing it as like, yo, because Perea, when he has come in, he hasn't been coming in for that position anyways. So I don't know, like, but he clearly the game saw it.
Yeah,
He has it.
he has it. I mean, there's not. Look, they say if you're good enough, you're old enough. That's the whole saying. Even though that feels weird.
That's the root now.
but I'll give him credit. I'll give him credit. It's that he didn't look nervous. I can't even think of one really bad. There was maybe one moment where he had like I think 2 defenders on him and he was trying to get rid of the ball and probably held on a little too long. But outside of that, it's like you just need a little bit of composure and just making good decisions. And he did that. There were how many? I think there were like 3 or 4 like 1-yard passes that he made to like Maxi of just like, all right, you move the ball around. I'll be or you might be like, like it's my first day. I ain't trying to do too much out here.
It's almost like he's too young to realize the magnitude of what he's doing.
Yeah.
So he's more carefree, I think is where or not carefree. Like he's just like, I'm just gonna ball out. I'm not even I'm in a stadium. It's like I'm just gonna take the ball away from you. You know,
like that audacity to do that, like I'm gonna call it weak side leg, back heel.
Or when the player beat him right, and all he did was
was able to swung it around.
A playground move.
Yeah.
That is something you would see at a 5-a-side game regularly, where the guy beats you to your one direction, and it's hard for you to shift that way, so you just swing your the opposite leg behind you, and then you just take the ball away from him. Like this is grown man professionals. He's taking the ball away like it's nothing. Like
absolutely
nothing.
Yeah.
And he did it not last week against Miami. We mentioned it where he just like I don't know how he did it, but the ball just stopped on his feet. Like the other guy was dribbling, and the ball just like, nah, I like this guy better. But then he does the kid mistake of just lobbing the ball route one.
Yeah.
So he's just like, oh, I have it. I don't know what to do now. But you can see now like it's changed. It was a fresh. What's the phrase?
I think he might be better than James Sands.
And that's
this age.
The social
debut. I think Johnny Shore is a better passer than James Sands at this age. You could kind of tell his IQ for ball game is higher than what James Sands at this age because they're the same positions, I guess, right? And this guy could be like legitimately special,
dude. He did a side pass. I don't know if you guys caught that. It might have been to either Alonso or to Julian. I forget who was it, but he gets the ball in the top of the box, and there's all these short passes, and he just one touches it in space for it must have been Alonso, yeah. And it's like one of those skill passes that you just like, this is like Europe caliber. like at that age. Like
Sure.
the fact that you just know you're confident and you know that this is what you needed to do at that point, instead of trying to hold the ball, turn around, pass it. It's like if I give a shoulder move, that defender knows I'm gonna try to pass this ball. And then it's like that little bit. Maybe what was it? I think a couple years ago, I don't know, hearing any whatever content about MLS. And I think that was the conversation was you need that level of like street ball to kind of permeate into those that want to be in the league.
Yeah.
So that you start there and then you come up and like, hey, this person's actually kind of nice, but you have that street ball mentality of I just want to try shit. Yeah, like
I
want to just go and do shit. If it doesn't work, then fuck it. We go again next.
Yeah, little futsal. Like you could see,
Go Bonito streets. You know?
yeah.
You know that.
Dude, yeah. I mean, he got player of the match as well.
Yeah. I saw that as I was walking into post game. I went to a cousin's 50th birthday party, and I'm walking in the house, and I'm looking at this. I'm looking at my phone, and I see this, and I go to him. I was like, "Yo, happy birthday! What were you doing at 16, bro?" Like,
incredible. Yeah.
yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, the fact that we're talking about this kid is like we're just so not used to having young players be this good. So I was like,
young players get an opportunity too, because NYCFC, yes, they sign homegrowns, but very few of them have gotten like a respectable amount of first team minutes.
Yeah.
You know, we saw it with Joe Scally getting like what was it, 78 minutes in the year and change that he was a first team member. We've signed like Maximo Carrizo get no minutes, and he's been a homegrown signing for over a year at this point. You know, it's just like we've signed these homegrowns and they don't get minutes. You know, they just don't. And seeing this kid come in at halftime, the first game of the season against Miami, against Messi, who he's probably been watching his whole life, literally his whole life watching Messi play. And the whole time I'm praying, I will respect you so much if you 2-foot him, just 2-foot him one time. Just so I know that you down with us, bro. You down with the Papos. You know what I mean? Like, you down, bro.
You want to be in the gang, bro? Well, you got to do.
And to start back-to-back games starting. Back-to-back games starting is just it's really cool seeing the coach trust a young player who's something that we thought he would be. That the coach this is his mentality, giving the youth an opportunity, and we'll see where it takes us. You know, how far he could go. But this first goal, did you guys what'd you guys think of Maxi Morales' like 22-yard shot on goal that took about 17 seconds to make it to the target? Like that ball, Pedro Gallese, like give back that goalkeeper of the year award from a couple years ago, bro. Like, bro, that ball like literally like trickled down, like it's just like if you count the rotations, you'll see the MLS logo like 17 times, like they just rolling it. And I'm like, oh my God, when is it going in? When is it going in? And just kiss off the post so softly that it just stays in front of goal. And that allows Alonso Martinez to beat all two defenders to the ball and just tap it in. Like,
Bro, but before that,
there were two pops. It was the pop that ball was going to go in for Maxi Morales. Like, oh, everybody starts saying it's going in, and then it's like, oh, and
right before that, I was actually next to Christian, and I was next to you and Alexis. I go, this game seems like a 0-0.
Yeah.
And like maybe 2 seconds later, this whole thing happens.
Maxi's having the problem that I always had with like Talis Magno, where like, and I don't know if this has anything to do with age or form or whatever, but like Talis couldn't put any power behind shots. It made no sense. I'm like, and it's not like he's like muscular. I don't know if it's like it's just form. And I'm looking at the goal right now, and Maxi he like scuffs the shot. I mean, he really doesn't hit it correctly.
Like hits it over the top and then just
yeah. And
down.
And it's an odd. These are probably like I'm not a professional athlete, never played professionally, but like players that don't have the decent form to just like hit the ball with some pace is like, I'm like, how did you get to become a pro? And then also players that can't use their weak foot like at all. I understand if like you understand one is stronger than the other. I don't expect you to curl a ball with your weak foot, but when players don't even use their other foot at all. I'm like, how can you be a professional? And it's fascinating to me.
If Julian Fernandez manages to score a goal with his right foot this year,
Yo,
Pascal Jansen gets coach of the year.
We
Coach
got-
of the year.
You know what I'm
get
saying?
it. Julian Fernandez refuses to acknowledge he was born with a right foot.
dude, I feel like he wakes up like I just walk with a crutch every day.
He rolls out of bed to the left.
Yeah, like everything is.
You know?
But that's something where like David Lee is scouting players, and the scouting report says does not use right foot, and he's like,
It has to.
this is
I think
This is not a deal breaker for me. You know when they say like women like to like bad boys because they want to fix them.
yeah.
That's how he scouts Julian Fernandez. He's like,
Scout because he got 1 foot.
you know what? He's like, no, I could fix him. That's just me. But you know, it's funny though. Funny enough, his assist was with his right foot.
Yeah.
But you saw how slow
I
that
know.
ball. Like it was just like that's as hard as he could have hit it. That's
He could have wandered. Yeah, he could have wandered the shit out of that ball.
Right.
Yes, but no, he actually just.
so altitude. People will say, "Oh, it was perfect for Hannes Wolf." I'm like, it went nowhere. Like the ball,
He's getting contact is all.
eye level. Like it was just like but the goal was kind of special. And that second goal, especially after Orlando tied it up on like a nonsensical. Let's say just a hack had a little flub.
Because we were on Orlando.
Yeah.
I want to say the whole match, really, but that first half for sure, they couldn't do anything against us, which is again surprising. That we're like, Orlando's been a good team. They look like they're going to be one of the, I won't call them the top 3, but Orlando's been playing. I'll call it
Top 4.
Top four, sure.
But we should have been up. I mean, Julian Fernandez had those 2 great chances. I mean, the first one probably a little bit tougher than the second, but like it falls right to his left foot. Just like, bro, just get it almost on frame. Like anything could happen. But look, I'm glad they just like figured it out because it was frustrating to like not get more goals in that game. And then, when Kevin O'Toole, we'll talk about it later, obviously, when Kevin O'Toole gets the second yellow, it's just like, what the hell? It's just a pointless obstacle for us.
Was I bugging with Kevin O'Toole's second yellow that he never went to the locker room?
I don't know where he went.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking just the same thing.
Did he? I felt like he hid on the bench.
I saw normally you obviously supposed to go into like the dugout.
Yeah.
And I saw him go to the benches, and I was actually looking around the pitch. I'm like, oh, well, he's gonna be walking around, probably getting booed by fans as he's walking to the dugout. But I didn't see it, so maybe he did. Yeah.
And then especially after the game where you see him jog across the field to drop off the jersey to the kid that had like Kevin O'Toole, please have your jersey. Like I would never have thought a kid woke up one day and said, my dream today is to get the Kevin O'Toole jersey. I always respect to Kevin O'Toole, but it's like, holy smokes.
You love to see it. You love to see it because
the kid was like, if I'm gonna get one, it's gonna be him. Like he'll probably give it up. Like.
Well, that's play, but no, it's I think that like what I like to see is first like Alonso's goal, right? In the first one is one thing we don't get from Baccarat because you Christian, you hinted at the whole Baccarat thing earlier. He follows that play perfectly.
Yeah,
like the moment he saw that Maxi kind of like, give him the better of flop, under hit the ball. He recognized like, oh, this is gonna be something, and just to have someone up top like that can recognize situations and just be a what is a fox in the box? How is it done? Like I love that. I've been wanting that from Baccarat for the last year and a half or whatever was that he's been
that poacher mentality.
That poacher mentality. It's just great. Like I think for me, it seems like I'm again not a player really clearly.
No jodas.
But you would think like it's like the basketball when the shot goes up. Just some people you're trained to just you wait for that rebound because you never know. Like you're not maybe now in today's basketball you don't, but When growing up, it was shot goes up, I bet. You never know.
Yeah.
Knocks out 21. Like, I want to get my rebound. That's how I'm thinking about it. Whereas, like, if a shot goes up, you never know what's gonna happen. We need someone that's like that. If we finally have that, and that's what I really took about that first goal was finally we see it where there's enough people in the box of, hey, if it's a rebound, we got it. I just don't like how we lapse late in games, though.
Yeah, I mean, just to add about Martinez, I mean, I think he kind of has like Tati's instincts, and he has like
Yes. Yeah.
he does he's not as like he's a little bit more humble, I would say. Um, he could probably be a little less humble, realistically, but he it's not even about like he does it. He plays like a little cleaner. I don't know, like he's not really he doesn't dribble past anybody. He's not taking a lot of touches. He just he tells his teammates like, "Yo, get me the ball in good spots, and I'm gonna take one or two touches or one time shots." So that's what I've spoken to enough players, and it's like, sometimes you think like the talent is kind of enough, but the confidence is also really, really important, and that's what Barcar is missing, and I think that's why Cushing continuing to give him opportunities, I think hurt his confidence because it didn't tell him like, hey, it's not good enough, and I'm sitting you so that you understand the magnitude and the responsibility of what we need from our strikers. And Alonso Martinez he's like, all right, yeah, when I get my opportunity, I'm gonna do what I got to do.
He's like a throwback to like a bygone era of center forwards.
Yeah,
Yeah, that don't need to come back down and like hold up play. Like it's literally like I'm gonna be here. Oh snap! What just happened to my screen? I'm gonna be here and uh any ball in this area, it's mine. I'm gonna rock out right here, and it's like real old school. I'm trying to figure out. I think of a player that I can't think of somebody off the top of my head that like a big name player that kind of reminds me of the style of play, but he's just real old school in that sense. Like he's what Lord Nemec was supposed to be, you know?
You know what's funny? I was literally thinking about, I was like,
Lord Adam
Never-
Nemec. You're
never
supposed to be like
be
the guy who's
ball
just
there.
top, just get him the ball and he's gonna make some magic happen.
do the most with the few chances that you get, and that's why, outside of like the game against the Red Bull, playoff game, like he's been solid. If you get him the ball in in a decent spot, he's gonna get it on frame, and goalkeepers are like a little bit nervous about what he's gonna end up doing or how he's gonna make them look. But so it's kind of it's like I don't know how you guys feel. Like it's refreshing, and it's like we had. It's nice, especially after having Tati Castellanos, to have a player like Alonso Martinez. But for some reason, it doesn't feel like this is the guy. I don't know why. It doesn't give me that same feeling of like certainty. But I could be wrong. Maybe he has like a monster season. But he's definitely what we need right now.
I appreciate the him also not being very unafraid of shooting from outside the box. Y'all hear my dog? How fucking loud he is?
I don't hear it.
I'm not a right
Is
there.
snoring crazy right now. He looks like he needs to those apnea masks. I'm like, holy smokes! Like he's going all in right now. But Martinez has like he's unafraid of shooting from outside the box as well. We've seen a lot of goals from him from far, and that's something our team has lacked the past few years. Is someone who's unafraid to shoot from anywhere and can make them. You know, and
I-
it's just making him all
I
around
agree.
elite.
I'm a huge fan of having players that can shoot from outside the box because for teams that play like NYCFC, it just makes that center back come in a little bit because it's like, yeah, there might be a shot. And we haven't had it really since like Alex Ring, Goody, maybe, you know what I mean? Like
Home.
Yeah, Tenor, he was good for one or two.
and
Mehdi Bellucci and Tommy McNamara, prime examples. Those are guys with most of their goals in NYCFC jersey were from 15 yards plus.
Well, Tommy had one move. It was just, it worked.
What? Two. You know,
That's it.
So and we saw the passes that Johnny Shore was making like those threading through the ball on players that are running into the box. Imagine if people were worried that Johnny's about to shoot the ball from 22 yards out. Do you know how many more opportunities that would open for those runners? So, but for whatever reason, I think the style, maybe it's just for Pascal Janssen or just definitely Nick Cushing. I think they play with a lot of like sabermetric type thing of like what is going to lead to the highest XG and better opportunities for goals. And there's no way. I don't think that the encouragement is there to take shots from outside the box, especially. I mean, not for Maxi, right? I mean, Maxi he did that. It did lead to a goal in that instance, but it's not common. So, but yeah, I would love to see a couple goals outside the box, even scoring on free kicks. Like we get one a season. It's like we got Santi had the one last season. It's like
that was the first one I think in like almost 2 seasons.
Yeah.
One that Santi had. That was like because we didn't have none in 2023. I think a free kick goal.
We never had a free kick sort of specialist or someone who's had that skill set in their bag.
Yeah,
that would be like automatic, you know.
Even scoring on set pieces, on corners.
Yeah,
we used to. I mean, look,
the first one, yeah, but
yeah, we were capable of it in the past, but it's like I don't know what it is. Maybe I think it's the style of player, the profile. We're not really like looking for big dudes that are like aggressive in the box, but like having Chanel and Collins and when I even told Keaton when we interviewed him, I was like, "Yo, this season are you looking to like?" I was like, "Why don't you score more headed goals? Like you're the tallest dude on the pitch." And he's like, "Yeah, it's a thing I'm working on in my game and getting in the box more, but." It's like having Peter Crouch and they're not scoring goals.
So actually, Christian, let me ask you this because I've brought this up before in other episodes, and Keaton Parks, at least these first 3 games, and some of last year, have been starting to creep like little doubts in my mind about him. Not necessarily that he's a bad player. I don't think he's a bad player. For some reason, I just don't think that he's gonna be with us long because he seems like the odd guy out now for me. Yesterday, the goal started with one of his bad passes. He passed it to Shore and he just overshot it and right into the defender, and then they start with their counter. And he's sort of like done that often, and it's not that he's not the worst player on the field. So I'm not saying that, but there's certain moments I'm like, you seem a little too slow for this kind of play, or you're being left behind. It feels like I don't know if it's just something that I'm seeing, or have you seen anything like that with on Keaton where he needs to change his game to be that kind of poacher in order to be successful now?
I don't think so because to me, Keaton is probably one of the best in MLS in just holding on to the ball and for the type of team we are, we need a player like that. Look, he makes a lot of passes. I mean, we could probably find the stats of how many passes he made, and I would argue he's probably makes some of the most passes on the team. I'm looking at I can't find it, but if you see it, accurate passes 35 out of 54. That's not a great game for a midfielder.
You're doing good there, Christian. You were doing all right. You were doing a good job of shitting on Yousef.
Yeah, on this shit. I was like, yo, you one of those girls that go to Dubai.
You were taking a nice warm.
I didn't look. I should have looked at the data beforehand. I let it speak. And then you're other one. It was pretty bad. My bias is that I love Keaton Park, so I'm not gonna. It's not criticizing too hard.
I rate him.
Yeah. But I think he had one game that's wasn't ideal, but in general, he holds on to the ball. He holds on to the ball well and generally makes good decisions. I would love to see, some more line breaking passes. He's not. I would love to see him get more assists as a midfielder, but clearly the whatever like link up that it's like get Maxi the ball. Maxi is the guy that's gonna send it forward. look, in general, I think he's great in the midfield to win duels. He is very tall most of the time. If a ball's up in the air, he's clearly not a defender and not a defensive mid, but if the ball's in the air, he is most likely going to win it because he's taller than most midfielders and just most players that are on the pitch. So that part of it, I think that's an important part of like our identity right now. But again, he should be he shouldn't be given the ball. Just in general, whether it leads to a goal or not, that isn't it's clearly not what we need, but it's a bigger mistake if he makes it versus a fullback or what I mean.
Because it's a key point in the field, and which easily accessible to transitions. Is that transition play? If it becomes a weakness if he gives away the ball away in the midfield, and that goes for anybody. I think Yousef was trying to relay a little bit differently. I'm trying to word it a little bit different. What Yousef was trying to say, I think because I've spoken to Yousef about this plenty of times, where I think it's what he's trying to say is that the level of the game around Keaton Parks is slowly starting to become above Keaton Parks' level of play. And then
Okay.
maybe in the year coming up or the year after, whatever, in next offseason or something, that we might have to start looking for the future of that position.
So I agree with you always have to look for the future of that position because that's the only way you keep players from not maintaining that same effort and everything. Do I think the game is too fast for him or getting above his level? I don't think that. I think he is a player that slows the game down. As soon as the ball gets to him, he is not, like I said, he's not making these line breaking passes. He's usually not passing to the wingers while they're making a run and stuff like that. So I disagree there. That's really the main thing. I think for a team like NYCFC that prioritizes possession, he's always gonna have a spot there. Yeah, he's 27 years old. Yeah, he's getting up there, but they're not asking him to defend. They're asking him to maintain possession, and that's why
I have the game on, right? And after we scored the second goal, there kind of was a shift in positions with him and Johnny Shore, where Keaton Parks is playing further back and instead of him becoming a little bit more forward, is Johnny Shore moving up into like more of an advanced position and Keaton Parks staying back. So at least right now, maybe because of his stature and size and ball knowledge, Jansen is probably like, okay, you stay back a little bit more because you'll be able to contribute more in their transition play, which leads to our transition play. We are able to get the ball away from them deep into our territory.
Yeah.
And maybe that's probably the ideology behind that. Because I'm noticing it now with the game that after we scored, he's kind of playing a little bit more further back.
In the goal that we gave up, I mean, really, you see it where he's running back to try to like track back and defend. He's not the fastest dude. You can see he literally looks like exhausted trying to keep up with the rest of the players. So, like in my opinion, I don't think anybody knocks him out of that position, right? At least right now. Yeah.
No, there's nobody that not currently on the team because even Perea is a completely different player to be a little bit.
Yeah.
It's more because if we are going to be this sort of aggressive, bulletproof mentality type of pressing team, we are going to be a little bit more vulnerable in the back going forward or going forward into the season. And I just don't want the scouting report going forward to be like, this guy here can, if you get past him, we don't have to deal with anybody really. So that's where I guess that's more or less where my head is at. It's like I don't want that to become the foul point that in the team where he does contribute so much more positively offensively that we're gonna start seeing like where defensively he might be a problem because we're being now more exposed back. Just early days sort of worry. Like I don't know how it's gonna shape out, but that's just for me what
that's fair. I mean, if I'm
so doom and gloom of Yousef, like
if I'm like trying to come up with tactics or tell players to do whatever have whatever responsibility, I'm not asking Keaton to defend. I mean, think of like Sands, like having a player like James Sands was just so invaluable. Of just like because he's like, no, you guys don't have to worry about defending or making a big tackle and stuff like that. Like when does Keaton even make tackles? How many tackles does he make a season? Like that's just not. It's not. It's just not his game.
It was so long to get down there. That's why.
Like
It's all 6'4".
What's the point of these? If I slide, I'm not coming back up right away.
Yeah. So
That makes sense. And then maybe not with Shore if he is that good of a player, and he goes back into Sands mode, then he has somebody there that he's confident.
well, so yeah, that's why I in my opinion, the team is stronger if Justin Hack is in that Sands role, and then we have a competent center back, obviously, because again, it gives that piece to Maxi, and to Keaton of just like we can have fun, we can play around, we can be creative, and we don't have to worry about those defensive responsibilities.
Well,
All right,
speaking of
quick. Oh, God, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I was gonna move on to the Kevin O'Toole because now we have a.
Oh yeah, that was exactly because Kevin O'Toole is a fucking savage. All right, these fouls, holy shit! Oh, there's no question, zero question. There's 2 yellows because my man chose violence both times.
Yeah,
even though the first time was all ball, but the way
he went through the man, he went through
the guy from, I guess you could say the backside. Like it's a dangerous.
it's a bit back.
It's dangerous tackle, but all ball ref. All ball ref. All right.
He's like, you watching the same game I'm watching? I got a little.
It's all ball. Like I didn't touch him. My feet. There was no studs involved. It was just like my knees took his ankles out. You can't do
After the ball, there's still a follow through.
Exactly.
It's momentum. I can't help it.
That was pretty well deserved yellow, and his second yellow was just like, all right, guy, like
it's a little dumb on his part.
Like you gotta know that you're getting a second yellow at that point after that rough tackle. There's no way to question that. And I think he knew immediately. He's like, all right, yeah, I know.
But he gets it. Who goes into his spot now?
Oh, he misses the next game, I believe, right?
Yeah.
It would be another youth, another youth player,
Nico Carvalho, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't come in. He came in Miami, sorry, and he didn't really give us a lot of people confidence. He was, he's part of the reason why they got that late goal.
Yeah.
So, is that a position? I'm trying to think. Like, is there anybody else after Nico or before Nico that's just injured?
It's Prince Ponce, no, like the draft player from Vermont, the captain from Vermont. I would be okay with seeing him potentially at least get some minutes in the next game. It is New England. Like you could play the twos out there and we'll be fine. But I think this kid has a lot of praise. Both, I guess, the draft player and the academy player, they both have some type of hype behind them at their young age, and I would be okay with seeing either one of them start, and then the other one maybe rotate in minutes towards the end at some point.
When O'Toole got the red card, literally the first thing I said was like, "Bro, what are you doing? We got no left backs, bro. You can't get red." It was I mean, I understand the foul. I guess I was more concerned when I was watching it back. I'm like, why are you getting beat there? Like, why are you committing so much? Like, just you have a quick, like, pacey winger on the ball, but like, it just I didn't understand. And also, like, say you do get beat, like, okay, well, you have a yellow, don't foul him. This you got teammates
grabbing the play. Like at some point you got to realize, you got to know. First of all, you have to know you have other teammates. There's other guys on the field that could. And especially because it was like towards the midfield, close to very, very high up the field for a fullback. It was like in the midfield area where that foul was committed. It's like you have people behind you to the left, to the right of you that should be able to cover you in case you get beat.
And you have freeze at the end, and last line of defense, you have a high caliber goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, I mean, I'm like looking at it back, and O'Toole, he goes to put pressure on the player, and I don't even know who the player is, but he took a great first touch, like on the turn.
Face,
perfect. So, but he's So he's following the pass. Like he sees the player about to receive the ball, and right as soon as he has it, like I think the ref would have allowed like the bump of like, okay, he couldn't stop himself, so he bump it. But as soon as he holds on, and then you know, Justin Hack,
Hold
yeah,
behind, yeah.
Justin Hack is right in front of the play. Muriel is offside, and Keaton Parks is like probably the closest to like cut off the angle. It's just a really poor decision.
Poor decision making, yeah.
Yeah,
Those
that's
are
a
the
way to explain it.
that the coach, I believe, is capable of snapping out of these players, like giving them the knowledge in the training rooms and like in the I don't even know the room where they watch film, the film room.
Yeah,
Yeah, the room, yeah.
And Big Guy was there for a reason.
And just like give them the opportunity to learn like the mental side of the game as well more, and maybe and I feel like that was lacking in the previous regime, that there was the same mistakes kept happening over and over and over. And I think this coach is going to be capable of, with some time, like getting in their heads a little bit more.
He's open too. Like I liked in his interview where I think it was after the LA match, or even after Miami match. He's open. He's like, I can tell you exactly why we drew or why we lost this match in the way we lost it. These are was wrong. Whereas before, like Christian, like you alluded to, Christian would just be more of like they just listen to me. They didn't do anything wrong. It was me. I'm sorry. You're like, no, they messed up. They're players. Like, I'm not on the field with them. Like, so yeah, that conversation definitely probably is gonna happen. But like
a 2-1 win at home, much needed.
Yeah,
much needed, especially after the first two games. How the way we tied and lost both games, like winning this game, I didn't have that sense of late in the game, the last maybe 5 minutes of stoppage time and the 5 minutes of the game. I didn't, even after the record, I was like, I don't feel that Orlando's capable of scoring on us right now.
No.
Like I wasn't that nervous of blowing this one for some reason. I didn't think it would happen. And winning at home, getting our first win of the year, I think it's a very good thing for the fan base as a morale booster, and especially the team, and knowing that like, hey, they're capable. They're a capable bunch of guys who can beat a team who went to the Eastern Conference Final last year. Who are basically almost the same team coming back. A lot of repeating players coming back, returning players, and maybe we can keep up with the big dogs of the East. If we with some more time and training and practice. Yeah, I think it's a good confidence booster.
I think after last night, we're recording on Sunday. More and more, I came into the season worried. I feel like we might be in a better position now than I thought.
Yeah. Right. I didn't know what to expect from the coach. But like again, like even he was pretty transparent, especially when Santi left. He's like, we need to sign players. Like we don't have enough of a roster, and for us to do in these 3 games, for us to look the way we look with what we have, and losing a player like Santi Rodriguez, it's pretty motivating, because it just feels like even if there's one. I mean, I don't know where you think the signings are. And maybe we could talk about it, but like my concern, for whatever reason, Hannes, how many 1v1s he had, couldn't get by. Maybe it was just the defender he was up against. He was up against what is his name, Alex Freeman. Maybe it was just he was up against a good defender, but Hannes couldn't get past this dude at all. Like, just had no ideas, and he had a couple, opportunities. If he could just create a little bit of space, you get a strong chance. But that's kind of where I think we could probably use a winger. I think we could use maybe another center back or something. Definitely another left back. But I would love to just get like a really big name or something. Just like get everybody excited about
I'm
the future.
I'm into, at this point, an experienced player. It doesn't have to be like a super megastar.
Yeah.
But it's someone who's like anywhere between like 26 and 29, who has a couple hundred, like 200 first team games, that's a professional already, that
Yeah.
doesn't really need a developmental period.
It's an
And
adjustment period.
just the adjustment to the league, but not like, oh, we have to develop him, we have to like uh uh build him up. No, no, no. We need someone who's a little bit experienced. I think that's what we're missing a little bit. An experienced player that could play or multiple, like one position in the field, who's just like, this guy is ready made. Like, we got him. And speaking of which, speaking of that, I wanted to bring up, as you being Evertonian
Yeah.
and an experienced player and someone who knows the league as well. What do you think of the possibility, or the hopeful wishful thinking of like bringing Jack Harrison back into the fold?
So definitely, as an Everton fan, the
Yeah.
one thing that has been baffling, because Jack just scored his first goal, her first goal
Okay.
contribution this weekend, and of the season.
Yup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first one this season. But he really has not done much at Everton, which is also makes no sense. I don't know. I think, I've spoken to like a journalist that covers Everton for The Athletic, and he's just like, he's like, I can't explain it. I think it's just a confidence thing. And so, would he be a huge contribution to the team? I wouldn't be against it. I do think he is. It's just as an NYCFC fan who obviously followed Jack from the beginning when he was at the club, to see him go to the Premier League, be at Leeds and get relegated.
got a burger named after him, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Yeah.
I want him to succeed in the Premier League. I know that he can. I think we all do. It's just like, I don't know if he's in the wrong team. I just kind of feel like Everton has too many, like, they don't play with the ball. They don't really maintain possession. It's just like a very gritty team, and respectfully, Jack is not like a gritty player. He's like a more of a finesse guy, and can kind of dribble around people and create space. But he at Everton, the big issue for me is like, he's not solving problems. When he has like two defenders on him, he doesn't really make the right decision, kind of loses the ball, or like holds on to the ball a little too long. Like, he just can't, like, that isn't his game. He's not really like um a player that like maintains possession or whatever. And for some reason, he's just like making mistakes that are like, this is a Premier League player should not be making these mistakes. And
Oh man.
it's hard to explain, and it's not like he's not necessarily costing the team goals or anything like that, but it's just like,
Mhm.
you could see the quality, the level that is required, and he's just, like, I think it's more of a mental thing.
I know you convinced me. I'm good.
Yeah.
You were supposed to convince me,
Yes,
and you could convince me.
I went the other way, and I was like, you know what? He can't cut it at Everton.
Everton.
You know what? But and you say it like that, like, oh, can't make it at Everton. Everton's not a bad team. They obviously always like kind of bottom of the table, but it's like, it's the style of play that I don't think suits him. So maybe back at NYCFC, I think he would be better with a team that maintained possession. He doesn't have to defend as much, and he's not chasing around center backs to try to win the ball back and stuff like that. And I think that would be a better situation for him. So I I think any other team, he would be better. So, but I would be lying if I said I was not concerned with where I think his confidence is, because it's just it's him playing for Everton doesn't mean, like, when you have two defenders on you, why are you holding onto the ball? Like, that has nothing to do with you being an Everton player. It's just like, there's something going on. Maybe the coach is telling him something. Maybe the coach is telling him, like, be more aggressive, try to get by play. I have no idea, but it's not leading to positive results. And more than anything, when you say like he can't do it at Everton, but in games where Everton has like a couple games where there's like, we won like 4-0 or 3-0 or whatever, and your winger, both wingers, Jesper Lindstrom, another one, both of them have no goals, no assists, which from that position is crazy at Everton, where everybody is like, nobody's getting 12 goals a season. It's like distributed throughout the team, and it's like he's just never putting himself in a decent position to at least even get an assist. So that's the part of it that's concerning for me.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you would say most of his success in England was under Bielsa, who plays this crazy,
game
just
that you're not even describing. You get what I'm saying? It's like the opposite of what you're describing. The pressing, having to put pressure on having to use your stamina, your agility to. It's literally the opposite of what you're
murder
saying.
ball. They literally call it murder ball.
Yeah.
So like, maybe it does help coming in. Who knows? I'm all for it because it hits a lot of checkbox. Nostalgia hit bump. It gives you this player was in Europe bump, and you don't and like Sanchez said, you don't have to really explain to him the mechanics of this league, or he knows exactly what to expect and then how to achieve it. So I'm down for it because it's just we need a good feel good story when it comes to signing.
No doubt.
And then we have who would be coming in? Who was a big splash? I'll say Griezmann. I'm still up on him.
Pogba.
Right?
Why not?
Basement.
Oh,
right. The slide into second base is not no.
Yo.
But real quick, New England's next week. Leo Campana just got hurt yesterday. He pulled like a hamstring or calf.
Yeah.
Their DP center forward. Which to me kind of hurts because as an Ecuadorian, like he's probably gonna miss the next FIFA window because of this. Which it was whatever. But it's still the New England Revolution. For some reason, those are one of those teams in MLS where it's just like we could play them on one day's rest. Like historically, I've always felt so confident. New England Revolution, 3 points. Automatically assume that. At home. Away, we can't win for shit.
Right.
Yeah. But at home, give us New England every weekend.
It's weird as to how, because it's not like they've gone through a stretch since us being in this league. New England has gone from being like that kind of team, the best team in the league, and then now the worst team in the league. It's crazy. They've never been consistent.
I mean, that's why it's so. I mean, MLS is like so difficult. I think it's a combination of like all the, roster rules and TAM and GAM or whatever.
Yeah.
But then coaches. I mean, getting rid of Bruce Arena. Also, like, who is it? What am I? Carles Hill. Like him. Yeah. Players being vocal about like not being happy with the team and not happy with how things are going and stuff like that. Again, he's one of the. It's just like the vibes are bad at that team. And I've also heard Caleb Porter is like, he's just he has had success, but I've also never really heard players be like, "Oh, Caleb Porter, that's the favorite coach I've ever played for." Like he's not apparently he's like not super like just chill guy, but he has successful teams. So I don't think he's gonna make it to the end of the season, but to be honest, because it's not going well, and then have the injuries, they're not gonna make it any better. But last year was terrible, and if they even start looking like it was last year, they're gonna. I don't
think they haven't won the game this year. I think, right?
Yeah, they're 0-3. They just lost to Philly.
No, yeah, losses tie. 2 ties in the loss, I think it is. Yeah.
So it's like
not good.
You're not playing well. It's crazy you said about Caleb. I remember seeing a documentary about Portland one time and hearing a locker room speech, like a halftime speech, and just the way he spoke, he's kind of like the Jason Christ mentality of I'm gonna just curse, so you can understand that I'm being aggressive right now.
Angry man, yes. I'm saying bad words. I'm furious.
And I was just the whole time I was like, this is a weird, like, I don't know, like I'm not getting motivated by you just cursing. Like, get the fuck out of here. But nah, so yeah, I think the same thing. Everybody says Caleb is just, I think he's a manager that I generally think the league has moved past.
Ooh, yeah, the MLS, like that typical MLS coach, old school MLS coach. Like
But he,
bring back Pecky, all
hey,
right?
here's the thing. I'm not even
Real nostalgia trip
in,
here.
in real time. I'm like not even just the fact that it's Caleb old school mentality, like tactics, whatever, but the mentality of the kind of manager he is. Because you see, Bruce is pretty much damn near MLS 1.0, but he seems to just know how to motivate a team, or at least make the fans kind of like excited for like, hey, we might have a chance. San Jose seems to be looking.
I just saw an article. I forgot where it was from, but and I've heard this from a bunch of players that the reason they like Bruce Arena is because he lets you know where you stand. So if he's benching you, he'll tell you why. He'll tell you what you need to work on. He'll tell you like why I couldn't put you on the team. Whether it's like, hey, we're facing so and so. I don't think you're gonna face up well against them. So he's just like open book. Like you're good enough, and I trust you, or you're not good enough, or you're not ready yet. And I've heard even a lot of players being like, even if I was benched, I knew why. I wasn't iced out by the coach who didn't tell me, who was trying to be polite and nice and whatever. So I think that certainty allows you to be like, yeah, this is what I need to work on. This is where I stand, and I'm supporting my teammates who are on the pitch.
Brooklyn. That's that
But-
Brooklyn.
The Brooklyn Bruce.
100. Keep 100 with you. Real quick, a score prediction so we get out of here. I'll go first. I'll say, as always, 2-1. You know, like we're capable of giving up a goal. You know, there's always that 3 games we've seen there's like a lapse in judgment or error defensively that leads to a goal that could have been avoided. Where we've been consistent with that, and I'm going to stick to that giving up a goal, and maybe we get another goal from Alonso Martinez, and I hope Maxi Morales gets on the scoreboard. Yousef?
Right.
But I go 3-1, just because we have to give up a goal. But I feel confident that we could beat New England.
2-0. Freeze's first clean sheet.
Right.
I think New England are that bad right now. I don't think we, and again, outside of the mistakes, I mean, the goals that we've given up have just been from like, I think we clean up those mistakes and we get a clean sheet. Yeah, they've New England has been abysmal. So I think this should be a fairly easy 3 points.
Nah.
Yeah. Next week should be interesting. In stadium wise, atmosphere wise, because from whatever progress or atmosphere there was in the first game, due to like the sanctions you probably heard about, Christian, going on with the supporters, there will be no drums. There will be none of that extra stuff that adds to the atmosphere. So it'll be an interesting viewing experience for everybody in the stadium as well. It'll be a little bit different.
Which is a bummer because it's a 10-year anniversary game. That's like the
home game.
Yeah, actual home game, because the first home game was against New England. So it's a shame that it's happening at that particular game. But what are you gonna do, man?
It's a throwback because in the first year, there was a tifo, but it was only one drum, and the drummer didn't even know how to drum. So it's like, did we really have a drum that first game? It was there. It was literally just there that first game. So
as long as it's not as cold as that first game, I'm good. Because that New England year one,
it's freezing.
Hell no. By me,
all right,
it's bodega.
That's pretty much it. Thank you again, Christian, for coming through and taking a part with us on spending your Sunday evening with us.
Anytime, bro. I'm I'm happy to be the replacement Dominicano, post Ozempic Dave, whatever. It's an honor. But like I said, I always tell you guys, but I tune into the show, and I always I'm grateful for what you guys do, and you know the dedication to the community and growing this. Just like we're talking about having a clubhouse, like Sanchez, you're gonna be the barkeep at that.
He's got the keys.
You're gonna be opening up the gate every morning of the club. Well, yeah. So, but now always an honor. Always appreciate hanging out with you guys.
And real quick, I usually put up a vinyl every week, a new vinyl. I was like, I don't have a comedian. Let me put on Eddie Murphy record up there. You know, like,
Love it.
I thought about you because I was looking through the through the little crate, and I was like, what should I put up? Something that in tune with the weekend, like let's see a musical artist for something for the weekend that happened. I don't know, and I was like, my Eddie Murphy record. You know what?
All right,
I
bro.
put that up.
You saw
I didn't even know he had one. Like not that Eddie didn't have one. I didn't know Sanchez
Oh,
other than Murphy.
yeah.
Had some gems, hidden gems.
He crushed it on SNL on the 50th anniversary.
Yo.
So that was good to see, because sometimes this always happens when like comedians get too famous, they're so detached from like what made you funny, and it's good to see him be able to like do that and still. He's also old. He was like making like really funny. The time, everything was there. Yeah, the timing, the
Tracy
jokes,
Morgan
the Tracy Morgan. Yeah,
is
dude.
hilarious.
And I've been to Alexis Guerrero shows before.
Okay.
Okay, so I am looking forward to going to the Christian Polanco show.
Oh, you know what? I'm March 22nd. I'll be in Queens. Performing at QED, which is the same. It is still open. Yeah, it has a new owner, but
Okay.
but unfortunately, it's at the same time as the game. So I'm gonna like perform and then and then watch the game. We're playing Columbus.
Ooh.
Yes, that's
I actually won't be in town that weekend. I'm going to Chile for World Cup qualifiers, Ecuador versus Chile.
let's
And
go.
I'm hoping that weekend Ecuador qualifies for the World Cup. That's why I specifically picked that weekend. The points, everything's in stars are aligning to qualify on the road in Chile to give the big FU to Chile after everything that happened with the sanctions to Ecuador, the -3 points, and to go and qualify in Chile. Yes.
All right, best of luck,
Yeah.
bro.
But yeah,
I
I will
won't be
definitely
going to Chile.
I'll definitely check
So
out a
I'm gonna
vote.
look.
I'll let you know
Whenever.
if I am.
Perfect. Thank you again for coming.
No, seriously, Polanco, as always, yo, you know, you the
Anytime.
homie, but always give you flowers. You have the reason we do this too. So
Okay.
I actually had to check somebody because in your name a few months back.
Oh, let's go. People talk big, giving that smoke.
Like it was kind of a video or a comment. Oh, it was like a post or something saying that nobody does like in stadium content for NYCFC. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. The originators
Sure.
of doing this of the podcast spacing, one of the first off the podcast spacing for coming from NYCFC fans. And I remember your your videos from inside the section and outside on the dugout by the dugout.
Yeah.
I remember those videos early on. That's you guys. That was your little niche that you realized doesn't work. That's why y'all stopped doing it. But it did them.
No, it wasn't even that it doesn't work. It's so I would say this. It's not that it doesn't work. The problem is that we were doing like outside stadium man on the street stuff, and it's like some of the people were so drunk that it's like, all right, I would, and the other problem is that the other problem is that I would we would film it and everything, and then I'm the one editing it, and it's like I'm editing it, and I'm like, if I put this out, people are just gonna be like, oh, NYCFC fans are just crazy, they're drunk, they don't. It's like it wasn't like Arsenal fan TV where like people have like exactly great points about it. That first year was like, oh, I love Pirlo, man. He's great, right? Like, and it's just like, all right, this isn't even show up yet. I have interviews that I probably still on my hard drive that are like, I can't. Why am I gonna put this out? It's just gonna make everybody like look bad, and that wasn't what the Cooligans was. That's the main thing. It was like I understand that it would get a lot of engagement, and it might even make some people laugh of like, oh, this guy's so stupid. But I'm like, I'm not a supporter to make my other supporters look stupid. And if you want to be drunk, then cool. That's like, I have no problem with people drinking or having fun, but I'm not here to make you look stupid. So that's really why we didn't keep doing those, because it's like everybody they enjoy the game their own way, and I'm not here to judge that. It's like I literally I think as a comic, I'm like, what is fun? Why is not like, I'm not here to make people look bad or like, quote unquote punch down. It's like I want to be. That's why I appreciate that, like that support, but it's like I'm a fan first, and even though like we interview players from other teams and all this other stuff, I'm like, it's like one of those things. I'm like, I'm never gonna forget where I came from, because if it wasn't for NYCFC supporters showing love in the beginning, it wouldn't have given me the confidence to like keep doing this, or even talk to players from other teams, and all that kind of stuff. So it's legit. Like I want to make the content that I enjoy, but it's also to uplift, not to make the soccer community look stupid or drunk or crazy or whatever.
Yeah, we tried it one year. I think it was the year after we won the cup, right, Yousef? We tried games to
Yeah, we
like trying to get
and it-
analysis, trying to
Mhm.
get people's more of like opinions on reactions of the game itself.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really working for us. Like it was like we couldn't get the like the last video we did, we didn't even release it. We were like, it's just not that good in the sense of like the people, not that their opinions weren't that great, but it's just like the
It's very
interaction,
very aligned to what you were saying a little bit.
camera
It's like it,
shyness, maybe.
yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
they didn't work well in front of the camera. Like they'll give the opinions when we're just talking, but it's like you put the light and the camera and the microphone in the face, and
Yeah.
it's just like
It's a lot to ask.
yeah.
It's a
So
lot.
we stopped that abruptly after like maybe three games maybe.
Yeah.
Because it was just like it wasn't really working. It's on top of the extra work that I had nothing to do with. Like I was just the one doing the interview. I'm not going home and editing this or setting up the lights and the cameras. Like just tell me what corner to show up at what
Yeah.
time. 10 minutes after the game, or I'll beat you right there. How you doing? I'll see you over there. Let me know when you're ready. But it kind of felt like we wanted to do something like that with fan reactions, but like on like with a little bit more of a in-depth reaction to the
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, and I think
It's
this
hard.
I,
It was
and I give credit. Chop Cheese FC.
Yeah.
I think that is like I think a great way to tell the stories of like NYCFC, and it's like, and he has like a much more gritty perspective, but without necessarily interviewing people. So there's a way to do it, but again, I think we're all sort of shaping the culture of what the supporterdom looks like, and maybe it might just be a while until we can like set up, a camera on a corner, and people come out and give like great takes. Like it's, I've been to the Emirates and I've seen the camera set up for AFTV, and it's like it is. If I mean it sort of it feels
It's
like
involved. It's
it's
involved.
involved, but it feels like when somebody's breakdancing in Times Square, like they make this big circle because everybody's like, "Oh, what's going on? What's going on?" But that they go crazy. I've seen people lose their minds over Robbie. I saw he was walking around after a game, and kids like, I don't know, like maybe 12-year-olds were like, "Oh, I touched Robbie's head," or whatever. Like people, I'm like, why is he this famous? This is like this is absurd.
It's
But
is that culture.
it's a culture, yeah, man, and it's gonna take some time. So that sometimes people want us to look like, what they do in Europe or in other teams, but it's again, like, it's gonna take time. A lot of times people are going to NYCFC games. It might be the first game they ever went to. It's just a thing to do, like, or whatever. But we're not. I don't know what it's gonna look like as far as like the Mount Rushmore of like content creators around the NYCFC. I don't necessarily expect to like be there, but I will say like what we're doing, what you guys are doing, there's gonna be people 10 years from now that are gonna be like, oh, I'm connected to this club, and I'm more deeply connected to this club because of NYCFC forever. And it's like forever. Who knows how long we do what we're doing, but it's not going to lead to necessarily the biggest rewards ever, but it's going to lead to that appreciation because we're the only ones doing it. That's the reality.
Appreciate that.
sure because if Alexis keeps dressing the way he's dressing with those coats, people are gonna be like, "That guy is somebody right there." That
Yeah.
guy. For those who don't know, who to know him, but just by seeing the aura
Sure.
and with the long coat and then the slim tall guy standing next to him with the bubble vest, like it's like a trademark bubble vest. You like, or
Exactly.
have like have them in a bunch of different flavors. It's like
We got
this is like
the arrogance, we got the modesty, we got
working man, like the
You got
they're-
You got it all. Nah,
Yeah.
man.
But-
But it's just it's fun. It's a fun time to be in this space, and it's just
Yeah.
it's cool. It's just we say it all the time. I think this team has probably the most amount of people creating stuff for it. On average,
like
most I've seen.
selective. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's New York, and we're gonna figure out a way to. I'm waiting for the NYCFC ciphers, like battle raps.
Sure, bro. Dude,
That's what I'm waiting for.
once the stadium is here, and then we have the identity, and it's like it's sort of all over the place now. But once that we have that church that we
Yeah.
can go to every week, I think everything's gonna change. I mean, it's gonna be one of the coolest things to do in New York. And I've been to, I don't know if you've been to LAFC Stadium, but like the 3252, and like it's like the interesting thing about 3252 is it's like the party is in that section and it's loud, and then the rest of the stadium is like, oh wow, look at what's going on over there. It's like seems intense. But if we could get even that 3252 type of section in even two sections, or even as close as possible around the stadium, I think it'll just be a thing where we talk about legacy and what people want to keep coming to and stuff like that. So dude, yeah, I'm even things like this got me excited about the future of not just the club and the club success, but like our connection to it. So yeah, man.
To the next 10 years of greatness, and like the banner that was displayed at the end of the game, the best 10 years of our lives just happens, like
No.
for everything NYCFC related. I think you might agree that if it wasn't for NYCFC, like the past 10 years wouldn't have gone the way they've gone.
Not even close. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody everybody who's like a deep follower of the club and a supporter, like a lot of their last 10 years were based some way around this team. And it led us to today, and 10 years have gone by that fast,
And I can tell you that, and I can tell you this right now, and could probably end here. I don't see the next 10 years ever changing either. My life is still going to be revolved around that schedule.
Yeah, for real. Yes.
Nah,
Well, thanks.
not really.
Anytime, brothers.
Here, we hope to do this again one day. We were trying to think about when's the last time it was. I think it's been a couple years since you've been on.
At least
And-
2. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a couple years, and let's not make it another 2. How about that?
There you go. Yeah, you got my number. Hit me up.
It's funny you said that, because I literally was like, you said that it was literally last Sunday where you were like, anytime, and I was like, how about next week?
Oh man! All right, Sanchez, take us out, bro.
Yo, NYC forever. Just get out of here. NYCFC. Fuck Cooligans. Peace out.
Like a collab.
Yes.
End up big.
All right.
So you guys, peace.